All right, let's talk for a moment about setting gain levels. Now, you might not know what gain is. You might have thought of the term volume, maybe, for what I'm talking about. But volume and gain are two different things. Um, Long story short, gain is the intensity of the signal, how much signal's coming into the board. Volume is the loudness of the signal coming out of the board. So I can have a signal that has very little gain, like this little guy here. It's not really getting, like it's just a little tiny negative 60 dB, little tiny guy, not getting a ton of gain. And in that case, to make it robust enough to hear, you'll have to really drive the volume way up. But here's the problem. In a tiny little signal like that, you're going to hear a little bit of the thing you actually want. Let's say the thing you actually want is like up here, good. But then below that, you're going to have just normal hiss, room ambient noise, even just some of the noise in the electronics and all that stuff. So when you try to bring up the volume and boost that signal, you've got, you know, some of the stuff you want, but also you've got some of the stuff you don't want. And when you expand both of them, you end up with a very unclean signal, let's say. It's going to sound like with hissing and all sorts of not good stuff. Okay, so what we want is a nice, vibrant signal level. So when you're checking gain, here's how you adjust that on any given channel. I'm going to go to the PowerPoint computer or the Pro Presenter computer. We're going to go, I'm just going to send some music to the board. I'm also going to turn off the speakers because sometimes you don't have to turn off the speakers. I'm just doing that so the music won't be super loud. So I'm going to play a song here. There we go. There's music going. You can see it's pumping music there. Okay. So we look here, and when that person's playing their music, you'll notice you're getting a pretty healthy level. You want to be you know, at a normal intensity, you know, assuming it's not somebody whispering, at a normal intensity, you will want, you know, at least 1 to 2 green dots, and then in the more intense moments, you got some orange popping up. That's great. You do not want it to get too high. Let me show you. Once you reach clip, that's where the signal will distort. It'll be really scratchy and disorienting. It will not sound pleasant at all. So you want it to be somewhere in the middle would be great, around the negative 18, maybe peaking up into negative 12 here and there in super intense moments. But definitely you see it's nice, healthy green with a little bit of orange. That's great. That's fantastic. Okay, so this channel is getting this level of signal. If I bring up the volume all the way, it's still kind of similar, isn't it? It's not like going too nuts. I mean, the volume's way up there. It's not changing too much. If I bring the volume all the way down, oh my goodness, this signal has not changed because this is our gain level. This is the level of the signal, whether or not it's coming out of the sound system. These faders control volume. If something's too quiet and you can't, like, you're driving it really hard and it's still quiet and sounds like there's a hiss, it's really ugly, bring these faders down, get your volume to a not so crazy level, make sure you have a nice healthy gain level before you start messing with it. So I'm going to show you how to adjust the gain. I select the channel. It's a stereo signal, so they're both there. Gain is controlled for every channel. When you select it, it's on the top left. There's a gain knob. You'll notice it doesn't have to be that high because the computer is sending a pretty robust signal as it is. It does not need phantom power. It does not need a phase polarity reverse or anything like that. You're totally good. But here's the gain knob. If I bring this down, that will start to affect the amount of signal. Now we're kind of not really giving it any gas, and it's, you know, it's still there because it's a strong signal from a, you know, one line source to the board. But if I start increasing the gain level, you will notice it start to grow. And that's pretty good. Oh, it's getting a little too hot. We're getting too much red. Oh, now we're getting definitely too hot. Too much red. And I'm not even going to go all the way to the top because I ain't trying to be crazy here. But when you're doing a gain check, you want to make sure for your instruments, when you tell them, or the vocalists, whatever, when you're telling them to make some noise for you, the very first thing is to make sure you use the gain knob for every single channel of the people that are up on stage, and make sure you're getting a good reading on them. Because if you're not getting a good reading on them, it might sound not so great here in the room, but also it'll sound extra weak when it's going out to the people at home. So again, we got our gain set for the PowerPoint, and that one doesn't change. That one's usually fine. The one you really need to check when you do sound check, first thing, is the vocalists. Just tell them, hey, sing for a little while at about the volume that you would sing on Sunday, or during the service. And then they just make noise. And if they're not making noise, you tell them to keep going, and do the same thing for each channel you have that will be playing or singing that week. And yeah, so the gain's pretty good up there. So we're gonna come back, and that is how you check and confirm that you have good, healthy gain levels.